Welcome to the Reinhardt Coaches Show. I'm Jason Haynes, and we've got a great show in store for you today. The head coach of the football program here at Reinhardt, Dr. Danny Cronic, will be with us to talk about his 5-3 season that he's got going so far and look to the next 2 games on the schedule. Also, we've got the head coaches of the men's and women's soccer programs here at Reinhardt, Andy Kaplan and Joey Johnson. They'll be talking about their programs looking ahead to the Appalachian Athletic Conference Championships. That's all coming up next here on the Reinhardt Coaches Show.
At Jersey Mike's, we think no sub should be measured in inches long or seconds till served. A sub should be measured in moments, time with friends, lunch breaks unbroken. Every sub is a chance to be great. Every sub should ask the question, am I a sub or am I a sub above? Jersey Mike's, be a sub above.
Bill Holt Chevrolet is a corporate partner of Reinhardt Athletics. Start shopping for your new car or truck today by calling 678-880-1500 or by visiting www.billholtgm.com.
Shape your life and build your future at Reinhardt University. Learn in small classes taught by professors who build community as they share knowledge. Make your home on Reinhardt's beautiful campus or take classes at selected locations. For more than 130 years, the Reinhardt experience has extended beyond the classroom to include sports, music, clubs, and much more. Reinhardt University, shaping lives, building futures.
Welcome back to the Reinhardt Coaches Show. I'm Jason Haynes, and I'm joined at this time by the head coach of football here at Reinhardt University, Dr. Danny Cronic. And Coach, thanks a lot for joining us again today.
Good to be with you, Jason.
Now, it's your second year on the job, and as we tape this show, you're 5-3. You've already assured yourself you're not going to have a losing season. You're going to at least finish 500, and it's your second year in a row finishing at least with a 500 record. But right now, you've won 4 games in a row. You're sitting just outside the NAIA top 25. So far this year, what would you say have been a couple of highlights for your team?
Well, I think one of the things, Lindsey Wilson, we beat them this year. In fact, at this point in time, we haven't lost to the same team twice, except in our first one, which was against Mercer. But I think probably looking back, that was a big battle. One that we lost, that 55-52 against Faulkner, I thought was still pretty classic battle.
Yeah. Your team's won 4 games in a row now at this point of the season with 2 games to go. What do you think has been the key to your recent turnaround?
Well, offensively, we kind of been hitting on all cylinders, but I think we've also had shown some improvement defensively.
You know, looking at your team this year, I know a lot of publicity goes to your running backs and your quarterbacks and your wide receivers, people like that, and rightfully so. But your offensive line this year has really done a tremendous job. You've rushed for a ton of yards, you've put up a ton of points, and your quarterbacks have only been sacked 1 time so far this season through 8 games. Your offensive line play has to make you really happy.
Yes, we're excited about that. James Miller is with us for the first year, and he is doing an outstanding job. But we also had some players back down in there. I get more compliments from other coaches about some of our offensive guards that Clay Swint would be one, and then all 5 of them are doing outstanding. I'm tickled to death with my offensive line.
Looking at your quarterback position, because we just mentioned that briefly, Jonathan Chamblee more or less had to take over the starting role, but it's also a job that he had earned, and he's now been playing throughout games instead of subbing out with Ryan Thompson due to a little bit of an injury that Ryan's been dealing with. But I think you'd agree that he's really developed this year into a much better quarterback, a much better game manager, and has really been one of the main reasons why your offense has been clicking the way it has.
Jonathan, I think, is close to a 4-point student, so he's smart and he manages the game well. Sometimes the fundamentals are not just exactly what we want, but I noticed we are putting up a lot of points. But now Ryan Thompson has had a bruised bone in his wrist, and it's been rather painful, and I guess it's on me. We were over there playing Bellhaven, and I wanted to see if we couldn't do a little something for the half, and he got sacked and had to hit on that hand again, and that threw him back to where he's starting all over again. But I think he'll get to play this week.
You know, looking at your receivers too, especially that X spot with Aaron Kennedy and Tyler Bradley. Both of those guys have really put up some big numbers at times this year, and have really been impressive catching the ball for you.
Well, I might mention Tyler Bradley. Tyler has been an excellent blocker, so some of these long runs that L.J. Stegall gets off on, he's the last one, and he's caught some good balls. I'm really happy with Tyler. Aaron Kennedy, we didn't have him in the Kentucky Christian game, and he's Mr. Third Down for us, and has done extremely well with that. So he has a knack of getting open at the right time.
You mentioned L.J. Stegall, and he pretty much picked up right where he left off last year. He's got 11 rushing touchdowns so far this season. He's gone over 800 yards this season with 2 games to go, so he's got a really great shot at being the program's first 1,000-yard rusher for a season. He's already gone over 1,000 yards for his career, and he's closing out 1,500 for his career if he hasn't made it already. But while LJ has been great and he's been giving you some explosive plays, he's not the only guy who carries the ball for you. And you've got a lot of guys who can find a way to get that ball in the end zone.
We have a lot of guys that are roles. They have roles to play. Nigel Curtis is in there. I think probably the defense kind of knows what's coming when they see Nigel in there. Deontay Dennis has a role in there. Ian McIntosh brings a big splash when he comes in. And Jonathan Abrams has been a fullback that kind of get us a yard or two. And Jalen Dodd and Reggie Mack. But Sam Jones is at the wingback position, and he makes big plays. And then Elliott Clark. Elliott just keeps making big plays. And Trey Phillips has done well, and I'm excited about all those guys that we're talking about.
You know, your tight end position, or your Y receiver, as you call it, you've gotten some big plays out of the Y as well. It's been kind of surprising. You had a big touchdown pass to one of your Y receivers in the last time out. And your tight end that position has also been developing into something that has really taken a hold in your offense as well.
Chris Johnson has been out with a hurt back. We can't quite figure out what's going with it, but Nate Holton and Austin Cole have come in and done an outstanding job. Austin had a touchdown reception in our last game. We got Austin from up in Gilmore County just before our camp started, and he has been a great addition.
You know, looking at the other side of the ball on defense, especially the last few games, it seems like your defense has really picked it up. They've held the last 2 teams you've played into the 20s, and when you've got a team that scores in the 40s and 50s, all of a sudden if you're holding the other team into the 20s, it makes winning a lot easier.
Oh, yes, it does, and we're doing better over there. One of the guys that's, I think, been doing good all year, though, is Leonard Robinson. He plays the nose, and if we hunt a player of the week, he can almost get it every week, but you got Hunter Oswald, who is a leader here on campus, has had a great year, and Tiaris Thompson, that's number 44. He does a great job rushing the passer, and Javier Dyer. Down inside, I've been pleased with them. We've struggled a little bit on the perimeter. Most of the guys are kind of new, and it's a new scheme, and we're struggling a little bit to learn it. But this week, we've been the most aggressive in practice that we've been.
Well, the injury bugs bit you a little bit, but on your defensive side, but we're going to talk about that when we come back. And we'll also look ahead to the end of the season. That's coming up right after this on the Reinhardt Coaches Show.
At Jersey Mike's, we think no sub should be measured in inches long or seconds till served. A sub should be measured in moments. Time with friends. Lunch breaks unbroken. Every sub is a chance to be great. Every sub should ask the question, am I a sub or am I a sub above? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
For more information on Reinhardt Athletics, visit the website at reinhardteagles.com.
Shape your life and build your future at Reinhardt University. Learn in small classes taught by professors who build community as they share knowledge. Make your home on Reinhardt's beautiful campus or take classes at selected locations. For more than 130 years, the Reinhardt experience has extended beyond the classroom to include sports, music, clubs, and much more. Reinhardt University, shaping lives, building futures.
Bill Holt Chevrolet is a corporate partner of Reinhardt Athletics. Start shopping for your new car or truck today by calling 678-880-1500 or by visiting www.billholtgm.com. Welcome back to the Reinhardt Coaches Show. Still joined by Dr. Danny Cronic, the head coach here at Reinhardt University. And Coach, injuries have really played a factor in your team this year, especially on the defensive side of the ball. It seems like you've had about 25 guys get hurt, and most of them have been on the defensive side. But when other people have gone down, we've had players step up as well, and I know that has to make you proud to see the level of play that those players have brought to the table when they've been called upon.
Well, we're running a new defense, a 3-5, and it's a good bit of change from what we had last year. And my understanding of it is not as good as I'd like for it to be right now. But we have had some to come up, and the place we had the biggest adjustment and where we had problems from loss from either grades or injuries was a lot in the perimeter of our defense. And that seems where we've had most of the breakdown. But they're coming with experience, and you know, the only way you can get over making a mistake is fight through it and possibly make a new one. Just don't make the same one again. And I've been pleased with him. I think one of the guys that has stepped up and shown some leadership in that is D.G. Brown. That's number 10 that plays for us. And Marcus Miller's a freshman has come in and played at the Rover. I've been especially proud of his performance. I think my defensive down linemen have played pretty well, and our linebackers, got pretty much a new core of those. They're getting better as we come along.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned Marcus Miller because he's somebody I want to talk to you about as well. He's the team leader in tackles as a freshman. I know that's something that makes you proud, not just this year, but looking ahead to what he can do in the future for you if he's that strong already.
Well, he's a young man. He came to us from Marist, and they have a good coaching staff there. He has his fundamentals in place. He's a good tackler, and that's something that's very important on the defensive side. Now, Jabari Nelson's also been playing well. He's getting better over there. Vashawn Washington from down at Etowah has been doing well, and Deion Shelton from Lafayette is doing well in the contain elements of what we're doing. Of course, Christian Hill has been playing well now for 2 years. And Damian Baker, the young man we got from Brunswick, Georgia, has really stepped up and done well in the perimeter.
You know, your special teams, you've always been known, I guess, ever since last year with LJ getting those big returns. You've been known as a team that can be explosive on special teams when you're returning the ball. But this year, it's almost been a little bit of a role reversal because teams are being able to capitalize on special teams miscues on your side of the ball when you're kicking off. But it's something that you've really been focusing on and working on the past few weeks, and it seems to have gotten a bit better. I know it's not perfect yet, but I know it's a much more tolerable position where teams are starting back on their 25 instead of their 50.
Well, we have been doing better. Now, we had one big snafu last week. We had one guy to come inside, and it changed the angles on everybody, and here they go down the sideline. Of course, that guy's already run 5 back this year, so he was pretty good. But the kickoff, and we're doing a lot of kicking it off. So we've got to start doing that a little better.
You know, we've got 2 games left in the regular season as we tape this. You're 5-3 right now. Let's say, I know the coaches don't like to chalk up wins, but let's say that your team's able to get over Cumberland and get over Campbellsville, and you finish at 7-3 on the season. Right now, you're just outside the top 25. If you win those 2 games, you definitely will be in the top 25. But do you think your team will deserve to be in that top 16 and make it to the NAIA Football Championship Series?
Well, what I have observed is the quality of football that's played in the Mid-South Conference is outstanding. From what I can gather, it is the best conference that there is in football. Now, that may be prejudice as we look at that. So I would think, I've seen no other schools play, so my knowledge of what they play in the rest of the country, I just know what we do here in Georgia and in this conference. But I would think that we ought to get a shot at that because we did lose to a 1AA school. The games that we lost were very close. Kentucky Christian lost their quarterback after we played them. I think they would have been in the mix. They were a good defensive team. But I've been excited about the football we've been playing, and should we win these last 2 games, I think we would deserve a shot at it.
You know, I want to kind of start wrapping this up by looking ahead even more to the future with you guys, looking towards the off season, looking towards recruiting, and maybe this upcoming year, next year. If you've got a chance to talk to a student athlete, let's say a student athlete is watching this right now, would-be student athlete, and they see this and they want to be a part of the football program you've got here, what would you tell that young man what you're looking for as far as a football player, or what would you tell them that they would need to do?
Well, I think there's several things that go into that to being able to make the team. And the first is to be able to show up and show up on time. And that's something young people haven't gotten everybody gotten down yet. Show up on time and bring their A game on a regular basis and be physical. But to go along with that, they've also got to be able to work hard in the weight room and develop their bodies. They're not quite ready for the competition we're playing normally when a freshman gets here. They've got to be on time and do well in the classroom. And I think just being responsible is the first step in doing that. I think I've heard one coach say they were looking to hire the 3-star players and develop into 4. I think what he's saying, he wants folks that'll give effort. And that's what we're looking for first and foremost, is that they give effort. Obviously they need to be talented, but they need to give effort. And you're surprised what you can get your body to do and what you can get a team to do when they're giving effort.
Looking at the way your team has played the last couple of years, you've been able to have a winning record your first year, guaranteed of not having a losing record this year. How much does that help you when you go into those living rooms or you go to those schools and you see those kids and you're able to tell them, this is what we're able to do?
Jason, when I came along, there were only 2 schools in the state of Georgia played football. That's Georgia and Georgia Tech. So if you couldn't make those 2 teams, you had to get out of the state to do that. I think still that's what a lot of people perceive is the quality of ball. I think the shows that are put on here on Saturday are very entertaining, and the quality of ball is a high level. It's not non-scholarship. They're getting after it. Their injuries because we get after it so hard. I think they would be hooked if they come watch a game.
Well, there's one more game to watch here on campus this year against Campbellsville, November 15th, and that could very well be one of the biggest games of the year that your team has, but we've got a lot of confidence and faith in you guys. You'll be able to pull that off.
Well, we're looking forward to it. We're going to be playing against a good team up in Tennessee. This coming back here for the last ball game, I'm hoping it's a big deal.
Well, Coach, thanks a lot for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more after this. You're watching the Reinhardt Coaches Show. Jersey Mike Subs is proud to be a corporate sponsor of Reinhardt Athletics. Visit their location at 149 Reinhardt College Parkway in Canton, Georgia.
Shape your life and build your future at Reinhardt University. Learn in small classes taught by professors who build community as they share knowledge. Make your home on Reinhardt's beautiful campus or take classes at selected locations. For more than 130 years, the Reinhardt experience has extended beyond the classroom to include sports, music, clubs, and much more. Reinhardt University, shaping lives, building futures.
Bill Holt Chevrolet is a corporate partner of Reinhardt Athletics. Start shopping for your new car or truck today by calling 678-880-1500 or by visiting www.billholtgm.com.
At Jersey Mike's, we think no sub should be measured in inches long or seconds till served. A sub should be measured in moments. Time with friends. Lunch breaks unbroken. Every sub is a chance to be great. Every sub should ask the question, am I a sub or am I a sub above? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
The Reinhardt women's soccer program has built a tradition of excellence. They've won conference championships in 2 of the past 3 years, and this year they have a 12-3-1 record heading into the Appalachian Athletic Conference Championship quarterfinals. On the men's side, they're having the best year in program history. New head coach Joey Johnson has brought the team to the #1 seed in the AAC championships and a top 25 ranking for the first time in program history as they have a 12-2-1 record. I'm joined at this time now by the head coach of the women's and men's soccer teams here at Reinhardt, Lady Eagles head coach Andy Kaplan, and head coach of the men's squad, Joey Johnson. Coaches, nice to meet you today. Good to see you out here today. Thanks for joining us. Coach Kaplan, I want to start with you because this is another season where you've been able to build a tradition of excellence, throughout the past few years, but it's showing up again this year. What do you think has been the key to having a team full of pretty much all Georgia girls on your roster compete for yet another conference championship?
I think there's a couple factors to it. Certainly there's been a tremendous growth in soccer in Cherokee County and the other counties surrounding us. So that quality at the high school level and the youth clubs, there's just better soccer players around. And I I think the fact that Reinhardt University has such a strong academic reputation, growing athletic tradition, we've really brought some of the best Georgia kids in. So that's been a big factor. And then I think a true credit to my roster is that we graduated or had injuries to 5 all-conference players from last year, and we were able to bring in some new players, and then some players from last year's team worked hard in the off-season and improved. So we've really had a great team effort in maintaining the success that we've built over the last few years.
Now, Coach Johnson is a little bit different from you, but it's kind of similar as well. You have a great reputation from your time up at Bryan College as being part of the Appalachian Athletic Conference. But you've come here in your first year here with the Eagles. You've been able to turn this program around, a team that lost in the play-in game last year for the AAC. All of a sudden now they're the #1 seed for the Appalachian Athletic Conference Championships. What do you think has been the key to your success this year?
Without question, the key has been the leadership of our seniors, and all credit must go to the players. Point them in the right direction, and they've really taken it and run with it and continue to improve standards, and just the quality of character that they're displaying has been top notch. So the leadership from inside the team and the players have really just bought into trying to reach our full potential. So all credit goes to them.
Now, really this question is for both of you, but I'm going to start with Coach Kaplan first. As the sport of women's soccer, men's soccer, as it evolves, and you've got coaches like yourself who's been here for over a decade, like you, Coach Johnson, who've been in the conference for quite a while now, tendencies get developed and people start to pick up on those tendencies, but the game itself, the sport itself also changes at the same time. How important is it for your team, Coach Kaplan, starting with you, to constantly evolve, not just maybe season to season, but even during the season as well?
Oh, it's very important. I would say our strategy has been, when we recruit, we just try and find the best all-around players we can. So some years our roster has had girls that are pretty good size. Some years we've been rather small. For example, last year we were actually a pretty slow team, but we were very skillful. So we played a game where we emphasized a lot of ball possession, and it was effective. This year, all of a sudden, we brought in some fast players, so we've really changed where we're a lot more direct. We hit the ball long and really try and use our speed to get behind people. So we change quite a bit based on what personnel we have.
Coach Johnson, same type of question for you. I know especially on the men's side, there's a whole lot of scouting with videotape. As soon as a game is over, a lot of times you've got players going and seeing what the other team is doing at the same time on their web streams. What's it like evolving in the case, especially like you, your reputation at Bryan, people learn your set pieces pretty quickly, see what you're doing, and can pick up on your style of play. How important is that evolution, would you say?
Yeah, I think it's critical to continue to be unpredictable. I think the first step is evaluating the pieces that you have, evaluating your own strengths and weaknesses, and then begin to put together the pieces in a manner that can be unpredictable year to year. Within that, you always have a framework that you rely on as a coach that you found to be successful, and that's both on the field and off the field that you feel like that the players must adhere to be successful. So. Yeah, you definitely want to always be trying to improve yourself. You can't ask the players to continue to push themselves and improve themselves if you're not doing that as a coach yourself and staying on the edge of what's out there.
We're taping this right before the start of the Appalachian Athletic Conference quarterfinals. The men's squad, you earned the #1 seed for the tournament. The women's squad is the #2 seed, but both teams will be playing here at Ken White Field in the quarterfinal round. Coach, you've got a tough matchup with Montreat on the women's side, but if you're able to get past them and the draw holds true to form, you're going to have to head on over to St. Andrews for the Appalachian Athletic Conference Championship semifinals and finals. What do you think is going to be the key for your team to move forward if they want to be able to win a conference championship again this year?
Right, I mean, this has been the most balanced conference we've ever had, so I'm really not taking for granted this Saturday against Montreat. During the regular season, it was a 1-0 game, and Montreat had their chances. So for us to win, we're going to have to play 3 really good games. I do feel like if our midfield plays well, that's really a key. We have 3 really strong players in that midfield area, and I think they're capable of controlling all 3 matches. So if they're at the top of their game, I think we do have a pretty good chance of getting pretty far.
Coach Johnson, you're the #1 seed for the tournament, co-champions of the regular season, but by no means was it a cakewalk for you guys. A lot of hard competition. If the draw holds true to form, you'll be hosting the semifinals and finals here November 12th and 14th, but I know that your team is really getting geared up for probably the 3 toughest games of the season to this point.
Oh, without question. Tournaments, you must bring, great energy, competitive edge, and this time of year, teams have to dig deep to do that and stay focused in their training. I really like our group. They're working hard. We're improving. But if we don't bring, that level of energy that's required to be successful at tournament play, if we dip at all, then there's plenty of teams in our conference that are incredibly worthy opponents that will take advantage of that. So, we'll try to do the best we can.
Last question for both of you, and I'll start with Coach Kaplan. If a student athlete is watching this, or a potential student athlete is watching this and says, I want to play for Reinhardt, maybe next year or 2 years from now, what would you say to that potential student athlete?
There's really 2 things. You have to have a passion for the game, and you have to love to work hard. That so many of the high school kids, club players who come to us, they don't understand that it's a year-round commitment and that we expect hard work on the field and in the classroom, that we really want them to excel in both areas. So pretty much from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed, you're either really working hard on your studies or you're putting in a lot of effort on the soccer field. And if you do those 2 things, you'll fit in very well with us.
Coach Johnson?
Yeah, same for me. I'd echo what Coach Kaplan said. For us here, it's a family, and there's a tremendous amount of commitment between the players to be a part of all that we are, both on and off the field, and that encompasses a lot of areas of life. So, I'd echo exactly what he said.
Well, coaches, thanks a lot for joining us today. I'd like to thank Head Coach Andy Kaplan and Head Coach Joey Johnson from the soccer programs here at Reinhardt for joining us, and also the Head Coach of the football program, Dr. Danny Cronic, for joining us here on the program this week. Next time out, we'll be talking about basketball as the men's and women's basketball teams here at Reinhardt are in action. Head Coach Jason Gillespie and Lindsey Huffman will be talking about what they've got going with their teams. That's coming up next time on the Reinhardt Coaches Show.